Fallout from the IRS Tea Party targeting scandal today on Capitol Hill. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. Former IRS official Lois Lerner is now being held in contempt of Congress. Lawmakers say they want to know why the IRS targeted conservative groups, and they need her testimony to get that answer. David Brody has tonight's top story from the nation's capital.
After months of congressional hearings and a morning of heated debate, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee is taking further steps to get to the bottom of the IRS Tea Party targeting scandal.
I have not done anything wrong.
But Republicans on the committee disagree, today voting along party lines to hold Lois Lerner in contempt of Congress. Lerner was head of the IRS tax-exempt division when the agency targeted Tea Party and conservative groups that were trying to gain tax-exempt status. In previous House hearings, she refused to answer questions about the scandal. Committee Chairman Darrell Issa says by withholding her testimony, Lerner is standing in the way of lawmakers trying to bring the truth to the American people. But Democrats say Lerner isn't the one to blame. They say Issa himself has mishandled the investigation.
I think you may have misplaced the blame here. The only reason we haven't been able to get the truth from Lois Lerner is because of one person, and that is our chairman. Now, like many of you, I want to hear from Lois Lerner. I want to get the facts. But because of the manner in which the investigation has been handled by our chairman, we can't get those facts.
Today's decision to hold Lerner in contempt comes just one day after the House Ways and Means Committee voted to refer her case to the Justice Department for prosecution, saying she violated the rights of conservative groups and misled investigators. Chairman David Camp says Lerner tried to have the group's applications denied. A congressional report cites former IRS agents who say liberal groups were not targeted in the same way.
This wasn't an equal opportunity discrimination. This was targeted discrimination coming from the Internal Revenue Service. And what I'd like to address now is that our view is that that determination came from the highest ranks of the Internal Revenue Service.
Lawyers for the conservative groups believe politics is behind Lerner's actions. And Democrats say Republicans are practicing partisan politics by pressing charges against Lerner. David Brody, CBN News.
For more on this, we turn now to Matthew Clark of the American Center for Law and Justice, which represents 41 organizations targeted by the IRS under Lois Lerner. Matthew, now that the decision to hold Lerner in contempt has come down, what happens next?
Well, now that the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee has voted overwhelmingly 21-12 to hold Lois Lerner in contempt of Congress, that now moves to the full House of Representatives. And should the full House of Representatives vote by a majority vote to hold her in contempt, that would allow two separate things. One, it would be referenced to the DOJ for Eric Holder to bring criminal contempt proceedings against Lois Lerner. And secondly, it would allow the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee to bring a civil contempt proceeding against Lois Lerner.
How significant a development is the Ways and Means Committee's recommendation that Lerner be prosecuted?
It's a very significant step forward in the case for the truth, for the American people to receive the truth about what happened, and for those who were targeted by this IRS to receive justice for the targeting and for the improper treatment that they received at the hands of their government.
Matthew, what are some of the specific violations of federal law that the letter to the Justice Department accuses Lerner of?
Well, some of the specifics are specifically a violation of what's known as Section 6103, where she delivered confidential taxpayer information. We know that she delivered it to her own private email account, which violates the IRS regulations. But we don't know how far past that it could have gone, and deserves an investigation by the IRS to find out exactly what she did. Also, she specifically was targeting a specific group, a conservative group, to attempt to deny them tax-exempt status, which also violates the IRS own procedures of how a supervisor such as herself in charge of the whole division should be acting.
Are you hopeful that the Justice Department will act on this and hold Lerner accountable?
Well, this Justice Department has not acted on the investigation that they have undertaken. They've already essentially leaked to the Wall Street Journal that they've closed that investigation, essentially that no one will be prosecuted. So it is unlikely that this Justice Department would take action, but that civil proceeding, in addition to our lawsuit, is critical steps in getting to the truth, in stopping what is still ongoing targeting. 11 of our clients still have not received a determination from the IRS, some for well over 3 years.
Wow. Well, what do you think all this means for the conservative groups you represent who are targeted by the IRS?
Well, it's a critical step forward. It is important to get this information. Lois Lerner was in charge of the division that oversaw the targeting of our clients, and it is critical that we get information from her. And if it doesn't come through this, it will come through our lawsuit when we get to the discovery stage. We will get to the bottom of this, and we will get justice for those who are targeted.
All right. Matthew Clark with the ACLJ. Thanks for your insight, sir.
Thank you.